Alright, Infernal Blessings. Back with another video. 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference is in the books. Finished, completed. As you see the title of the video, I'm going to do a recap. Before I do that, real quick, if you're interested in signing up for classes that I do offer, I do 3 private classes every month on Patreon. So you need to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, located at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, and join Tier 3. Tier 3 gives you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, and also gives you access to the group ritual we do at the end of the month. This upcoming Friday night, the 27th, I believe that is, yes, the 27th of October, we will be doing the ritual of the Holy Death, the golden aspect of the Holy Death, and we will be focusing on spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical healing and financial prosperity, something we need as we approach this time of the year going into the new cycle or season, right? So that'll be this Friday the 27th. But that's how you get signed up for the classes I do offer. People always send emails. How do I sign up for your classes? That's the way you do it. You go to the official Primordial Chaos page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, if you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different readings: telepathic demonic readings, shadow work readings, which is something you should be doing consistently. Shadow work, uncovering the gnosis of the hidden self, right? Deity readings to see what spirits, gods, goddesses, and demons walk with you and influence your life. Egyptian oracle readings, which they become, in the last few months, as I've said, very popular in the sense people requesting them for whatever reason. Something out there in the ethers. Anyway, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. I will send you a list of different readings I offer. If you want to book a spiritual reading or a consultation, shoot me an email there and I'll send you information on how to do that. Also, next year, we're going to start pumping next year real quick. October 2024, 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. Okay? Now, it's usually the last weekend or the weekend before. I don't know until I get closer, but it's definitely in that last week of October. So definitely plan for that. Don't do what Brother Eric did. I gotta rag him, but we're gonna make it up to him this week. Brother Eric booked his travel, hotel, and tickets for this upcoming weekend, because usually every year we do it the last weekend in October, but there was a schedule change. So this year we did it 1 week early. Well, Eric still had the last week of October in his mind, and he just decided didn't pay attention. Long story short, he didn't make it this past weekend, but we're going to make it up to him this weekend. He is coming this weekend. So I'm going to chill with Brother Eric this weekend. He'll be here for the Holy Death Ritual. We're going to hang out with him, make up some time, and, go from there. Yeah, it's kind of messed up, but it happens. Shit happens, right? Unfortunately, shit happens. So Eric will be here for that ritual this weekend, and hopefully, maybe it's meant for him to come this weekend. We don't know. But anyway, October 2024, either the 3rd or 4th week in October. That I can tell you for sure. I just won't know till I get closer, only due to the fact of my little guy who plays travel hockey. I just don't know where I might be that weekend. So I don't know until the schedule comes out. I don't want to schedule a set date and then I get a travel date out of town that he's got to play a game, and then I'm kind of jammed up. But anyway, we're a ways away from that, but plan October 2024. Hopefully we can see some newer people, get some other people to come out also. And if you've never been there, come out. I'm telling you, we have a good time. I'm about to recap that in a sec. Also, don't forget, all this new content is being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram Primordial Chaos 9. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. 2 words, Primordial Chaos. The direct link to the podcast, the Instagram and Facebook page, my contact email, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page where you sign up for classes. All of that is in the description box of this video you're watching right now. All right, so I'm going to do a quick recap. 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference is in the bag. In the bag, folks. Okay? I will go in a little more depth this week. I will be now, as things kind of get back to a level of normalcy, I will kind of be in a normal schedule, back to readings, this and that. I will go live on YouTube this week and do a live, and I'll get a little bit more in depth. But this is just going to be a recap for this short video here. So outside of the fact that Brother Eric fucked up on booking his travel, and I was looking forward to hanging out with him, because Eric is a fun dude to hang around with. All right, we have some fun, man. Tell some stories. When you're out and about hanging out with him and eating, he'll tell you some funny-ass stories or you fall out your chair. So I didn't get that this year. So I'm a little disappointed with that. But anyway, we're going to make that up this weekend. So it is what it is. So on, they had the meet and greet on Thursday. Unfortunately, something came up. I couldn't get there. A couple of them did meet up. And then we kicked it off on Friday. I want to give thanks and gratitude, and I want to thank the presenters and the speakers that did their presentations this year. We had a lot of good presentations, which I'm about to recap right now. So we kicked it off Friday with Brother Bernard. He did a presentation on the dark path and divine love. A really good presentation. Something that's really needed on this path, right? People don't really understand what true love is. Not love in the false sense of the word of these false concepts of love, but love in the sense of how it ties into the divine dark path. So he did a really good presentation on that. I do have the outline with some of the resources. He did send it to me. So if anybody wants that, feel free to email me and I will send that over to you. In addition to people that attended the conference virtually, just a reminder, if you want that, send me an email and I will forward that over to you, okay? Also on that day, Raven did a presentation, and her presentation was basically on, again, being consistent, handling your business, basically, taking care of what you need to take care of, right? We don't have time to waste no more, right? We ain't got time, we ain't got shit to do. As far as when it comes to, wasting time, we don't have that to do no more. There's plenty we need to be doing now. She talked about having a plan, being consistent, staying up on your work, the whole 9. So she went through that factor, and that was on Friday. In between, we opened the ritual. So let me back up. We opened the ritual it was a ritual on invoking the different masks of the adversary, Lucifer, Satan, Iblis, Shaitan. We included a lot more ritual and meditation work this year. So let me back up. Before those 2 presentations, we opened the conference up with that. And then we went into those 2 presentations. And then we broke for lunch. Or I'm saying it backwards. After Bernard's presentation, we broke for lunch. And then Raven did her presentation when we returned, and then I did a presentation on reminding everybody what the theme of what this conference was about, what we were focusing on. We were focusing again on one, satanic black magic, but different aspects of it. And in that opening presentation, my first one that I did, we were about setting goals. So I gave everybody some goals to set. I'll talk about that a little bit more on the YouTube live. Some suggested goals for the new year. Because remember, the conference, again, as a reminder, is for these purposes. It's set at this time of the year, not just randomly. It's set at this time of the year because, as we know, according to the cycle, or what they're calling the calendar, we know the high year of magic for us is what they call the Devil's Sabbath, or what they call All Hallows Eve, or Halloween. The Catholic Church even acknowledges it as All Souls Day, right? Followed by All Saints Day on the 2nd, 1st and the 2nd. Okay? So we know this is the beginning as we're approaching what we call the winter solstice, which they say is, represents, darkness and the cold and the void. There's always this negative connotation with the winter solstice. Well, on my second day presentation on the 9 angles, which I'll get to in a second, I went through all that clarification, right? It's a deep time of inner reflection for us in that solstice. In that stasis or stagnation, there's a time to reflect, gather your thoughts, reflect on what we succeeded and failed at in 2023, and focus on 2024, what we can start improving on, maybe in what we didn't quite accomplish the way we wanted in 2023, and start setting new goals. You should always be challenging yourself, setting new goals. And it's a high time for deep personal reflection and work. It's also a time, if you're a Luciferian practitioner, and I mention this for those that are in the Luciferian self-magic and magic and self-mastery class. I know some of you did your self-initiation last year, and we want to do that right at around Christmas Day, which Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day, which is a high time for a practicing Luciferian, because the 25th of December is the day of the year with the shortest amount of sunlight or daylight hours. So it represents going into the darkness to obtain the light or the intellect, and that's when a lot of Luciferian initiations are done, right? So as I told people in the conference, maybe those watching, maybe some of you on Patreon, you weren't at the conference, if you were thinking about doing your Luciferian initiation, contemplating it, and maybe you weren't ready last year, maybe now you're ready, start preparing now. Start thinking about it now. Start mapping it out now, because, hey, look, we're about to go last week of October. We're almost in the first week of November. Before you know it, December will be here. So you got about 2 months to really start preparing if this is something you want to do. I know some of you did it last year. Some of you said you weren't quite ready for it yet. You wanted to do a little more study, more preparation. Some of you have reached out to me from last year to this year, said you're ready, you're prepared, you're getting ready to set it up. Some of you might still be on the fence, etc. Now would be the time to start thinking about that, right? This is a time for inner reflection, growth, change, as we go into that darkness or stasis or stagnated state, right? Of what they call the winter solstice, all right? And on the first night, and again, people always ask why I don't record the conference, this, that, sell it. There's a reason why I do that. And let me reiterate, it's probably the only thing I really don't record or archive. I know now with all this technology, we're so used to doing that, it's almost like it's mandatory and requirement. No, I keep this as a very special event that really, it's one of those things like back in the day, you had to be there to experience it. I want to keep it very personal, a very special event, something that stays in your memory bank. And it's one of them things you need to be there to experience it. That's why I do it. I have my reasons for doing it. So no, don't email me. I don't have it video recorded. It's not for sale. Because sometimes everything isn't just about the money, right? It's not always just about the money. Okay, so I've done this for 6 straight years, and I'll continue to do it. All right. Friday evening, we did a ritual with Set, invoking different aspects of Set and making order out of our chaos. There was again, I'm not going to get into everything about it, but there was an aspect of it with the PEP where we invoked the serpent energy with Set and the PEP together, and the ritual was focused on, again, making order out of your chaos through that concept and a bunch more. It was a very aggressive, almost like a vampiric manifestation of Set. I can tell you the imagery of Set was a bloodthirsty Set. And one of the last images we have when he turned and departed, and it came through real clear. He had, his teeth, like when you see a dog with its mouth open almost like that. Some say Set looks like a canine. He looks like a donkey. He looks like this and that. There's a reason why he's chaotic. And it's not, nobody can pin down exactly what mask or animal that's supposed to be in his deific mask. It's a reason for that. But I remember the last image before the ritual closed. him with a grin on his face, showing his teeth, and it was just blood dripping all down his mouth. And it was, I'm not going to explain in the ritual what happened that it got to that point, but that was one of the last departing images. And one of the mantras got pretty intense and aggressive, where you could feel everybody's intensity and energy built up, and we got a little bit, intense, this, that, and the other. But again, a great ritual in alignment with what we're trying to accomplish on this path to create that harmony. We did invoke the 5 points of the pentagram in the beginning of the ritual of set to access harmony on all those levels, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. Great ritual. Afterwards, we did what we do. Went out, eat, chilled, hung out, talked, shot the shit. Went to Upper Deck All-Star Grill, which is a really nice little spot. It's not a little spot, actually, it's a big spot. They got pool tables, and, we had a nice little section to ourselves. We got there late at night. We had the indoor part. We were really the only ones on the inside because we got there kind of late. And then we just kicked it. And that was the first night. Second day, we reconvened again, 9 o'clock in the morning. 2 great presentations. Again, shout out to Bernard, shout out to Raven for what they brought to the conference on the first day and their presentations. It's greatly appreciated to what they contribute. I know Bernard's been coming 3 straight years now. As soon as he found out about the conference, he hasn't missed. Raven's there every year to help. She's a huge help. She's always involved, always doing stuff. I know some of you guys know her, you know that, some of you don't. She does a lot, helps out a lot, and is always there. So I shout out to her for all the help that she does. Second day, again, more shout outs. Warlock Asylum, man, look, man. I wish a lot of you guys were there for that presentation. Warlock Asylum did his thing. Check the brother's books out. You can find them on Amazon. Just Google Warlock Asylum. Same thing. He's got a YouTube page. Warlock Asylum got his own style. He's really into some abstract left-hand path philosophy. He did a presentation on a Necronomicon and Shinto, mixing it kind of with the Japanese left-hand path occult, which there's a lot of similarities. He was deciphering a lot of the stuff in the Necronomicon, the numbers, the years, the different gates, the deities and the numbers they're associated with. I mean, I learned a lot from it. It made me want to go back into the Necronomicon because he brought up a lot of things that maybe a lot of us have missed. But he's real good with deciphering stuff. He's a very thorough researcher. Everybody enjoyed. We let him go long. I mean, his presentation was off the chain. He dropped a lot of jewels and a lot of knowledge in that presentation. And I will be appearing on the show probably in the next week or two. We're going to set that up. I'm going to come on his show. He's been on my show. He came to the conference and did his presentation. Shout out to him. I appreciate him doing his thing and what he contributed to the conference. And then followed by that, got to give the sister Kiona a shout out. Kiona Dark Fang. Some of you know her by that name. I've had her on my show a couple of times. Definitely going to reach out to her, get her back on soon. And she did a very presentation, in my opinion, that was needed. To sum it up in a nutshell, being a person of a melanated person, an African American left-hand path practitioner. She did a presentation on that and what it's like, to be. But it went into a bunch of stuff. She shared a lot of personal experiences. I mean, she's on a very dark, I don't want to say morbid path, but it's probably a path a lot of people would not be able to sustain. I'm not going to get into depth, but she shared a lot of very dark things, a lot of practices, again, that I don't think a lot of people would be able to uphold, but that's her path. And she shared some of her experiences, and then, with her no-nonsense approach, she tells it like it is. She doesn't give a fuck, and that's one thing I love, is the I don't give a fuck mentality, and just tell it like it is. Everybody was super engaged in her presentation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, them first 2 ones, I enjoyed them all, But them first two on Saturday really, it really set it off. So again, shout out to her for doing her thing and contributing to the conference, what she brought to the table, and everybody greatly appreciated it for sure. Then we had Brother Ravana popped in from Orlando. Brother Ravana stopped through. He was there for 2 days. He did a vampiric presentation on being a vampire. And really the outline that he did was off the chain, and really it applies across the board. When as I sat there and listened to the presentation, I'm sure everybody else was feeling the same way and said the same thing, getting feedback. A lot of the stuff he was presenting really applies across the board on the left-hand path of the occult. Yes, it was again, there was a strong vampiric theme at this particular conference. Though yes, it was, the elements was all vampiric, but if you're a left-hand path practitioner, you can really extract from what he's saying and apply it across the board. So he came through, did his thing. Just went right into it, and then we broke for lunch after that. So shout out to him for coming through and contributing to what he contributed to the conference, and that wasn't even on the ticket or the bill. So some people that came through, we squeezed some extra time for them because we had another person that came through that wasn't on the bill. So Saturday was a little more crammed. So there was 2 extra presentations. We also did, prior to that, we also did another ritual meditation, evoking the different masks of Lucifer. So there was another ritual working in between those. And then we broke for lunch. And then right after lunch, Brother Kevin, who couldn't make it last year, got sick. He came through and did another presentation on Gematria, added some new stuff to his previous presentation, and he's heavy on that. He considers himself an atheistic left-hand path practitioner. Sometimes he refers to himself as an atheist, a satanic atheist. Long story, ain't gonna get into that here. But he did his thing, always engaging, always entertaining, amazing what he does with the numbers. And this is the beauty about what we do. We got so many people that have so many gifts and are talented. And that's what the conference is about. We want everybody to come out and everybody network with each other, meet each other, and share the knowledge and the experience. Everything everybody did was unique. Everybody brought some different shit to the table. Everybody brought some and that's what I love about doing this every year, because you just don't know what's going to happen or who's coming through or who's going to do what. So, Saturday it just took it up to the next notch, because we had some extra presentations. Ravana, and we also had Brother Kevin, who weren't on the bill originally, because originally when the itinerary was put together, we didn't get official confirmation till later. But anyway, it is what it is. It worked out great. So then Kevin did his right after lunch, and after Kevin, I finished the first part of the day off. I did a whole presentation on the 9 angles, thorough from the original, how its origin in the Satanic Ritual book, comparing to the Satanic Bible, where LaVey first started. But I used the updated information. Toby Chappell put out a book, I think it was like 2018 or early 20, somewhere around there. He put out a book called Infernal Geometry. That was the name of the presentation I did, Infernal Geometry, book on the 9 angles, and I went in depth on each angle, how it relates to our path. We also did, well, that was on Sunday, I'll get to that in a minute. We did do a meditation and ritual working on each angle, which was also part of Sunday. We did that on Sunday, because Saturday, with the extra presentation squeezed in, that meditation and ritual was going to be done Saturday, but we were pressed for time. This happens every year. So we got everything in, so we kind of made it work that on the next day. I'll get to that for Sunday. So after my presentation, we broke on both days, just so you know, if you come in a future, next year or the whatever, we have, it's a 2-day. Every day, it's 2 portions of the day. From first portion of the day, 9 to 4, is classes, workshops, rituals, and presentations. And then in the evening on both nights, we come back for a group ritual. It's more of a big group ritual. So then, After we came back Saturday, we met at the cemetery. This was great. This is fucking awesome. This really capped the whole fucking weekend off. So we convened Saturday. We met at a cemetery we have access to here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which we're fortunate. We all met at the cemetery in the parking lot about 8:30, quarter to 9-ish. We probably started the ritual about 9. We did a vampiric ritual in the graveyard, invoking the spirits of the dead and the vampire gods. But to give you a quick recap, we weren't prepared for actually what took place. The power of that energy was just guiding us through the ritual. Now, mind you, all the ritual work we're doing is on the fly. None of this stuff, we have an idea in our head what we want to do. There's nothing written. There's no format. There's no papers. There's no books. This vampiric ritual was just straight off the dome. Everybody contributed to it. Bernard, everybody that was part of the ritual, Ravana, everybody contributed something to the ritual. That's what was beautiful about it. And it was on the fly. And that was the beautiful thing. Okay? So, just to give you a quick recap of the ritual, not getting into super detail. Before we entered the main walkway, before we stepped in, we tolled our bell 3 times, let the spirits of the dead know we were entering their domain. That's the short version. Then we walked to the center. Now the center was unique. There's something we noticed later, and I'll get to that in a second. But as we're walking the main path to get to the central point of this cemetery and do our invocation, because we've done work there before, as we're walking up the path, I'm going to say maybe it's about 100, 150 feet, maybe a little bit more. We see this thing on the ground as we're all walking up. It looked at first like it was some type of statue or something of a bird. As we getting closer and closer, things still wasn't moving. Then as we get closer to it, it moves. It opens its wings wide, and then it's an owl. And it makes the sound the owl makes, and it expands its wings right in front of us, and then it soars up. And the fucked up thing about it was I was trying to follow its flight, but the motherfucker just disappeared. We were all looking, and we were like, we know what an owl represents in the graveyard. We know what that represents to a lot of the spirits of the dead, especially Santa Muerte, which was crazy. We know an owl is a nocturnal creature. It has impeccable vision in darkness, which is symbolic. Why you see that, the owl, that's in a lot of occult symbology, especially with Santa Muerte. It represents, again, to us, going into the darkness to gain the light or the intellect. So right out the gate, we're getting confirmation. All right, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is right. Right? The owl just set the whole thing off. So we're all like, okay. We're like, okay. We brought a nice amount of vampiric incense as an offering. So we're sparking that up. And then we go into our invocation, invoking the different vampiric gods and goddesses. We're naming them by name, and then I went to each individual if there was one personally they want to invoke that we didn't mention. And then we went to each individual again if they wanted to invoke any bloodline ancestors that had transitioned on. That got a little emotional for some people, rightfully so. After we did that, then we all dispersed and went our own way in the cemetery to see where we would be guided to with our offering. I tapped into the spirit of Ampu, Hecate, Samael, Lilith. I mean, it was just fucking crazy. I just started vibrating their names. I started feeling a spirit come over me, and led me to the grave of a little boy. I'm not gonna get into detail. That was a very personal experience. Well, that's why I wound up leaving my offering, and I knew why. I'm gonna leave that there. Everybody else did their thing. I can't speak for everybody else. Then we met back up at the central point. And this is where it even got more interesting. After doing our solo work in the graveyard, we're going to meet back in the middle where we did the initial invocation, because I told everybody this is where we're going to meet back up when everybody's done. Just everybody come back. Your intuition will tell you. There's no set time. Everything, we just flowing with this. It's just natural. No plan, none of that shit. So we meet back up, and as I'm walking back, I get clear premonition like we need to vibrate Ample, Hecate, Samael, and Lilith. So we link up pinky to pinky, and we vibrate their names. We go through each one of them. as I'm doing this, I hear this. Oh man, I know how can a whisper be loud and a violent aggressive? I hear this like voice of a witch, but in a very roaring whisper, but it's loud. Everybody in a whispery type of voice. Immediately is Nama. Immediately tap in, it's Nama. And she's like, you fucked up. We didn't include her. And she was saying she was present there in the whole graveyard watching and observing, and that we needed to include her. And what she made us do, and I didn't understand why, and Ravana noticed something. I understood after he noticed something. She wanted us to go around. Now keep in mind, there's a statue in the center of a female angel where we're standing, and the angel has her hands out like this. And Naama wanted us to go around it counterclockwise 11 times, and there's a point, there's a path that goes to the center of it, 4 points. So I'm like, man, this shit is all fucking lined up. 4 points, circle, the whole fucking night. All this shit is lined up. And she wants us to go around 11 times, but make a trident at each point for Lucifer, for the serpent energy, for the dragon energy. So we're doing this. So before we start, Ravana points out, that's the same gesture or movement of the hands when you're pulling the vampiric current up from out of you and you're sending it up. And that's the position, and I didn't even pay attention to that. I'm like, holy shit. So now I see why Nama was buzzing in the ear and wanted us to do that. So we all made 11 counterclockwise circular motions. We look like motherfucking Muslims are going around the Kaaba and shit. And we stopped at each 4 point and made a trident. And this is what Naama wanted. I said, we got to do this. I said, this is what she's asking. And I don't want to piss her off because I know she's a very aggressive, violent spirit when she gets angry. So we did that. And I was like, all right, we're not fucking playing around. We're going to do it. And then basically after that, we all gathered in the middle. And then as before we walked out, we told the bell again 3 times, let the spirits of the dead know we were departing. We thanked them for their time, offer our respect, and let them know that we were departing. And that's something I suggest to anybody when you do graveyard work. You never intrude on the spirits of the dead. You always acknowledge that you're entering and leaving when you're doing ritual work. Because to me, other practitioners might have a different opinion on this, but to me, it's disrespectful to just walk in there in that domain. Because guess what? At some point, we're all going to be residing in that domain, right? We're all going to have the ability as spirits to roam that domain. So we let them know, we told the bell 3 times, and then we stepped out. Awesome fucking ritual. To me, I mean, both rituals, both nights were off the fucking chain as far as the power, the energy, the vibe. Man, I mean, that ritual really did it for me personally because I tapped into a lot of gnosis in that ritual. And again, the beauty about it is it just flowed, man. The only thing we brought was ourselves. And like I say, I'm at a point now when we do rituals now, we just show up. We know, we got an idea what we're gonna do, what it's focused on, but how we gonna do it, we just see what happens in the moment. And it's a beautiful thing. We left there, and then we did, we hit the Flanagans on the second night, man. We chilling in Flanagans afterwards, got a nice meal, kicked it, talked, and then we departed. And then Sunday, from noon to 4, I did a question and answer session, and I did 2 rituals. We did another meditation on the adversary, different forms with different incantations, and then I also did the 9-angle meditation later in the day along with the question and answer class, and that wrapped up the conference, 4 p.m. Sunday. So that's just a quick recap. But again, man, we had a little bit of a smaller group this year. At first, I didn't know how it was going to go, but you know what? Things happen for a reason. A few less people than last year, but hey, it worked out. And I know it's a little tough right now. The economy's not the greatest. I know it's tough sometimes for people to travel. I know, but I want to get more people. I got some other marketing ideas for next year. The thing is, if I can get more people, I can go to a bigger venue, and it would be cheaper prices. But we'll work on that. I got some ideas, but I do encourage people to come out. We've been doing it 6 years now. So looking forward to year number 7, and this is going to be something that an annual tradition that we keep up every year. But it worked out 100% better. I can't complain. The vibe, the energy, the timing, everything was great, man. And again, I want to thank Sister Sophia, who owns Cultural Expressions, the venue we use. I want to thank her for her hospitality. She gives me the option every year of renting out the venue. She saves that space for me that time of year, and again, that's always appreciated. So I want to thank her. And again, we changed it up a little bit, like I said we were this year. And I think the reason why I say the vibe was good and it was really good this year, we did more ritual work than we usually do. And I want to make it more about hands-on work, approaches, because we're going to have the great presentations. And then again, there's surprise shit that happens every year. Like, when Kevin and Ravana added to the itinerary, which they weren't on the actual itinerary, that's going to happen every year. Somebody's going to pop up, come last minute, and we all know each other. I'm like, hey bro, you coming through? Hey sis, you coming through? You want to do a presentation? Like, yeah man, I'll do a presentation. I appreciate it. So it's just, you also don't know what surprises we're going to get. So it was great to have them two added additions to the itinerary, in addition to how everything went. So yeah, man, all in all, I got no gripes, no complaints. I learned a lot. From everybody. And overall, and in all, it was a very enjoyable weekend. So that is in the books, people. Year 6, Journey of the Black Adept Conference, in the books. Right, another year. It's amazing how quick it comes and goes. It's like our Christmas. That's how I look at it. The Journey of the Black Adept Conference is like our occult Christmas. It's a big, 4-day celebration. It's our Christmas. That's how I look at it, right? It's our occult Christmas. So yeah, that's it. I'm just thinking, reflecting. That's it. All right. So next year, before I go wrap this up, I'm almost at my destination. Probably went a little longer than I thought. Plan October 2024. Well, I can tell you for sure, 3rd or 4th week in October. As soon as I know, you'll know. But I'll start pumping that. 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, coming your way October 2024. If you haven't been out, come out. Come out and experience it. Hang out with us. Do some work. See where it goes from there. All right. Other than that, that's going to wrap it up for me before I go. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. Remember, if you want to sign up for classes, go to patreon.com/Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join. That gives you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, in addition to the group ritual. Don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all podcast platforms. Check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, one word. Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. All the information for the social media pages, the direct link to the podcast, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page for classes, my contact email address, all that information is in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. We got the Holy Death, Golden Lady of the Holy Death ritual this weekend. Looking forward to seeing Brother Eric coming through. He'll be here Thursday to Sunday. So, hey, the work continues, people. The work is never done. It's an ongoing process. All right, I appreciate all you guys. I will be back on YouTube one day this week live, in addition to uploading some of these videos like this. Other than that, that's it for me. Infernal blessings. We'll talk soon.